Welcome to the Second Line Show. I'm Nola Nash. Let's let the good times roll. Hi, once again, welcome to the Second Line Show. I am your host, Nola Nash, and we have got some lovely ladies with us here this evening to chat writing, to chat all kinds of stuff. Of course, we are going to do our New Orleans history and mystery, where we are going to have a fantastic ghost story about one of the most photographed buildings in the New Orleans French Quarter. So a building you probably will recognize if you've seen any buildings in the quarter at all. We've got our lanyard segment, which is always a little bit of fun. It's just kind of get to know each other a little bit better. And of course, lots of fun conversation with the ladies here. So I'm going to go kind of Brady Bunch style. So Emerald, since you're over here, I'm going to let you introduce yourself first, and then we'll come down to Diane and Kiersten. So Emerald, tell the folks a little bit about yourself. Let's see, we always do kind of a fun thing at the end. We've done how you take your coffee, favorite colors, favorite board game. Let's do... I should have thought of this through. Favorite kind of pie. Let's do favorite kind of pie. All right. So you two get down there, get actually more time to think about this. So sorry, Emerald, you're on the spot. All right.
So my name is Emerald O'Brien, and I am from Ontario, Canada, just a suburb outside Toronto. And I write mystery, thriller, suspense. I have 16 books out to date. And I have duologies or duets, whatever you'd like to call them, a trilogy, a series, and then lots of psychological suspense standalones. So I like to write and read unpredictable stories. And my favorite pie would probably be a tie between strawberry rhubarb and apple. I think strawberry rhubarb tastes like candy to me.
Oh. I have never had anything with rhubarb in it, I don't think. Oh. I've always wanted to try it. So now I know I need to put strawberry and rhubarb together because that sounds great. I love anything with strawberries in it. That's great too. Nice. All right. Great pie choice. I'm going to have to try that one. We do have some folks popping in. We've got Phyllis and Holly joining us here in the comments. If you would please, viewers, whether it's now or later, go ahead and pop those comments in wherever you were watching us. And I know that we are in several places here. So go ahead and pop those comments in. We will try to work some of those into the show, your questions and comments as we go along, as those of you who tune in often know. So get those in there. And also, I know I go back through the comments after the show and kind of check in with folks and answer any remaining questions that we didn't get a chance to answer live on the air. And often our authors will do the same thing. So put those comments in and we will do our best to get to you. So, all right. Yeah, Holly is watching all the way from Alaska. So, hey, wow. In Alaska. All right. So, Diane, I'm going to have you tell the folks a little bit about yourself, my dear.
Okay, great. Thank you. I'm Diane Barnes. I live west of Boston, in a suburb west of Boston, and I write women's fiction. And my latest is called More Than, and it's about a woman who is able to transform her life by signing up for an exercise class at her local gym. And she transforms her life by the people she meets at the gym, not by the exercises, really. And as for my favorite pie, without a doubt, it's chocolate cream pie.
Oh, that's a good one. I love chocolate pie. I love anything chocolate. If it's got chocolate in it, sign me up. All right, Kiersten, you are on deck, my dear.
Hey, I'm Kiersten Modglin. I live in Nashville, Tennessee, and I write psychological thrillers. I have 21 books out. You can see them behind me. And my favorite pie is caramel pie.
Ooh, nice. Caramel pie. She says caramel. I'm from deep South Louisiana, so it's caramel. We could debate the pronunciation of caramel and pecan. Like, this could be a whole show where we just debate that. Phyllis is here, and Phyllis is from Hendersonville, Tennessee. So we've got, suburbs of the Nashville area here representing tonight. So awesome stuff. And Sharon is here from Minnesota. So we are representing the gamut here. All right. So we've got women's thrillers. We've got some women's fiction. Diane, I love the angle that you took with your book with the people being transformative, not so much the exercise program. I mean, there's so many things, you know, as women, we see this, you know, change your life by getting in shape and conforming to something that somebody else expects to be the case. And I don't know that that's, you know, I see how that might work for some people. I feel like that's an odd advertising angle to take because so many women, I think, would find that mildly offensive today. But I love the fact that you focused on relationships. And I think Emerald and Kiersten, in your novels as well, some of your new releases, you've got relationships that are kind of strained or become stronger and or tested. You know, and I think relationships, you know, we have that wide definition of what a relationship is, whether it's relationships with our friends, relationships with a significant other. When you bring couples into the mix and you've got couples that are friends, or maybe, you know, one pair of people, like the husbands are friends or the wives are friends, and you got the other one that's kind of hanging out over there. It's an interesting dynamic to work with when you're writing. And so I think relationships can be so widely defined. So how do you guys kind of take the relationships and put them into those situations? And I know, Diane, you're writing with kind of the individuals that come into her lives. And I know Emerald and Kiersten, you've got more of the kind of the couples pairing up and solving things, horrible things that were happening, murders that happened. So it's a different dynamic, but at the same time, you're having to think about how these characters interact. So what are some things that you consider as you're doing them, as you're creating these characters and the relationships that are going to play off of each other?
So for me, I do a lot of marriage books. So a lot of them revolve around a husband and a wife. Sometimes there are other family members involved, but I keep most of my stories very central to those characters. And I put them in very difficult situations, but you know, I always want them to come off as authentic. So my characters have very big personalities. Around with a lot of different personality traits with mine. And so I think for me, the biggest thing is just to make sure that they come off as authentic, and you know, the way that they react isn't because I need them to react this way. They react the way that they do because that's who they are. And so I think for me, I just do a lot of like character study, and I really try to get to know their personalities.
I like that. Diane, were you going to say something too?
For me, for More Than, I gave a lot of thought to a woman who was lonely and really didn't have a lot of interactions, and what would happen when she goes to the gym and she meets a bunch of women who are really supportive. So how that would change her. To me, the book is really about the power of female friendship. So
I like that. Emerald, what about you?
So in my books, I explore a lot of friendship and a lot of sibling relationships, and then parental and child relationships. So while I do definitely have some couples, usually it's about chosen family a lot of the time, and then also the family that we are born into. And I like to kind of explore my own feelings through my writing. Whether it's my experiences or questions I have or things that I see going on in other relationships. And for my most recent book, Follow Her Home, which is a psychological suspense, the two kind of heavy relationships are between the main character and her father who passed away, and then also the main character and an old friend she used to have, that they fell out of touch a bit, and there were some hard feelings there. So I work on definitely relationships that I like to kind of reflect from real life as well.
Now, how many of you are people watchers? I mean, I know as a theater kid, that was something that my mom and I would go and we'd sit at coffee shops, we'd sit at the mall, we'd sit, different places, because she was in theater too. My dad built sets and designed lights. My brother played basketball with his friends. Like, he didn't want anything to do with that. But we were always at the theater. And so when we were trying to figure out how to bring a character to life, we would watch people. And so often it was, we were looking for the little details about how they walked, how they carried themselves, all of those little things. Do they, older people, and they shuffling their feet, or those types of characteristics that are kind of physical traits that we were trying to emulate. But as a writer, I also find myself watching people now for a different reason. I watch, people in the mall having conversations. So kind of imagining what the dialogue is between those conversations and how people are responding to each other, how they're responding to the environment that they're in, to a certain level of stress. Do you find yourselves doing the same thing and kind of working those things, into your characters and how these relationships are developing, whether it is, the friendships or the kind of couple relationships?
Most definitely. A lot of times when I'm starting a book, I'll start off by maybe going to a coffee shop and just observing people, their mannerisms. And it's sort of fun if you sit back in a place where you can't overhear their conversations and try to figure out what the relationship is and what they're talking about and sort of make up the story then. And then it's also fun to just listen to snippets of their conversation and try to incorporate, figure out what the whole story is. So if I'm stuck, if I'm having writer's block or something like that, I definitely just stop what I'm doing and go out and just people watch. You get a lot of great ideas that way.
Absolutely. What about you guys? Emerald, Kiersten? What do you guys, where is your favorite people watching place to kind of be inspired?
For me, it's actually, it sounds funny, but TV, movies, and books. I like actual character study. I find that when I'm watching something or reading something, something either like rings true to me or doesn't, just based on my own experience, not because of how it was written or anything like that. But I guess it's finding truths in things like that. And that's part of why I enjoy it so much, and how I kind of like watch and read things differently now that I write for a living. So I guess it's just perceiving. I like studying characters.
Yeah, for me, I like going to restaurants, and of course, for a year now, we haven't been able to do that. So what are people? But I like going to restaurants and watching how people react to each other, and kind of like Emerald with movies or TV shows. When characters are introduced and you just get that vibe, and you're like, oh, because of this conversation that they just had, they're going to get together 2 seasons from now. Like you can read into that. And I think as writers, we spend more time, and I think just even from early ages, like reading into that, being kind of empathic a little bit about like environments and experiences that you're seeing or experiencing. And so, yeah, I love people watching. I've always been the wallflower to just sit back and watch.
I think it's just so much fun to see, the physical traits and trying to work those in, to writing too. And, that's kind of that, how are they holding their body when they're having this conversation, and how do I put that into words now? It was one thing to mimic that on stage, but it's a very different thing now to kind of watch that interplay with different people in public and go, okay, so if they're having this conversation and, they're interacting this way, how am I going to actually get somebody else to see that when they can't see that? And that's hard to do. But I know what you mean about the conversations when you can't hear them and you're kind of pretending, what are the relationships? And I was in line, the interminable line, this is pre-COVID, a couple of trips back to New Orleans. And I was standing in the line at Café du Monde. And if y'all ever been at the line in Café du Monde in the French Quarter, it stretches like so far. But you stand in the line, like it goes fast, but you stand in the line because you gotta have the beignets. You gotta. If you're going there, you gotta do it. So I'm in line, and this young couple behind me that are just tourists, I'm by myself on this trip, and this young couple behind me, they were kind of like, what are they talking about? See those people up there? Like they were doing the same thing. Like they were having this conversation, and I kind of leaned back. I'm like, they're probably doing this. And then it was like, we start coming up with this whole backstory for this whole thing. And so the three of us standing there in line, this long line, passed the time coming up with like the people way up ahead of us in line, like what they were all talking about, what they were doing. It started getting really wild. I'm just like, oh my gosh, like these people are great. Like I need to bring them in and let them write for me because they've got great imagination. But it's so much fun to do. But then when you put it into writing, like you said, Kiersten, they have to respond, like certain things have to happen. So then it becomes, how do you keep it genuine, and how do you keep, how they're supposed to react in real life, how they would actually authentically react, and then still get the plot to go where you need it to go. I mean, our imaginary people in line were buying beignets. Like, that was their only objective. Like, that's all I needed them to do. They needed to go buy beignets. What they did after that was of no consequence to me. But for a book, they have to get from point A to point B, and it's getting them there realistically. When you get these relationships that are building and growing and changing, how do you keep it from becoming contrived? What are some things that you're thinking about as you're writing that keep it from being a contrived march to an end?
I think for me, my characters have a mind of their own. There are a lot of times that I sit down and I know what needs to happen in this scene, and my characters are not going there for whatever reason. And like I said, I put a lot of thought into their personalities and the way that they respond to things. So even when I know that they need to get here, if they're not going to go realistically, if this character is not going to say this and it's going to come off, authentically, then I kind of let them take the lead, and I rework the scene. I rework what needs to happen to figure out how to get them where I need them to be, but make it make sense. And so that's kind of a non-answer, but
no,
it worked for me.
I think that's a very good answer. That works. Does anybody else have any same approach, different approach?
I have a different approach. I find if I outline and I know where a scene's going, it usually does feel a little bit contrived to me. So I know how a scene will start, but I often don't know how it's going to end. And that it makes it fresh and not contrived, because I don't know what's going to happen. So it causes a lot of revision, but it makes it, it feels real that way. Because if I know where it's going, I just direct it to go that way. It's just better when the characters take over and they lead the way.
Yeah, I agree. I'm kind of the same way. It's like, I know what needs to happen in this chapter, and I know what the central point is that I'm trying to make here, but I often don't know where this chapter is going to go. Like, what is the end of this chapter going to look like? I don't know, because the characters have to take it there. They got to go do that, whatever it is. And I like those moments, though. They're fun to write, when you're going, oh, that was fun. I didn't know that was going to happen. That's pretty great. You guys, kind of talking to the characters in your head going, y'all are awesome. Oh, that rocked. And that was fun. And then sometimes I'm doing it and I'm going, dude, this is terrible. And I feel like sometimes my characters are just standing there looking back at me going, lady, what are you doing? Like, this is not working. I feel like there's this dialogue with the characters, as the writer. What was the movie with it's Will Ferrell and Stranger Than Fiction? It's like Stranger Than Fiction, where Emma Thompson is the author and he's like a character in her book, and she's like narrating his life, and he's just like, no, I don't want that to happen. I kind of feel like that sometimes. I'm having that relationship with my characters where they're just like, no, we would not have done it that way. That is not okay. You've got to fix that, because this isn't working. Or they're kind of like, do you like that? We did good, right? It's kind of that weird, I don't know, that's how I look at it. Like, would my characters approve of this? Or are they looking at me kind of shaking their head like, you nuts, like, this isn't going to work? Maybe that's just me. I'm the only one that talks to my characters that way.
Oh, no, I talk to them.
No. Yeah. They're very real.
They are very real in my head. Emerald, what about you? How do you keep that? And you have, slightly different relationships, like you said, the, family you choose as opposed to the family you're given. You've got a lot of varied relationships. So how do you keep those working the way you need them to work without being contrived?
I'm more of a plotter. So what I normally do is I plot, I start with the character work and whatever kind of themes that I'm wanting to explore, or issues, anything of research that I need to do for that. And then once I know the characters really well, especially like their goals, their misbelief, if you will, the lie that they tell themselves that's not getting them where they want to go, the thing that they need to overcome, and what needs to be the obstacles in their way, what's going to challenge them so much, what are they going to have to overcome. Those are questions that get me started onto where I want to go with it. And then I plot about 75%, because then, like you ladies, I kind of know that by that point something may have changed, and I don't want to I don't want it to be in stone, set in stone, and really, so I give myself a really good direction of where I'm going, and I allow for yeah, it's kind of like, it's a bit like the character talking to me, but for me, it's a little bit like, wow, I'm even getting to know them more than I thought I knew them when I began this. And that's where changes can happen. So, like, oh, that one's really sneaky and looks like they're actually the guilty party, you know, or wow, okay, that one's been telling a lie the whole time, you know, because that's not how it is at all for them. So, the surprises do definitely still come up for me, but I do find that I am more of a plotter.
I think I start out with some plot, like I know where I'm going to go with it, right? But I have had more books go sideways on me. Like, oh, that's not what I meant to happen. But I kind of like those moments, but I kind of feel like I steer them back. I don't know that I can plot quite as much because I'm one of those people that if I start to make a plan, I have a really hard time letting go of the plan. It's like, and I know that sometimes I'm going to need to let go of that plan because my plan might not be the best plan.
Right.
So I think I have to, you know, I have that outline, that kind of that overview of where I want it to go. But man, if I plan too much of it out, God, it would be terrible. I don't know that I could do that. I admire that in a lot of authors who can do that.
I think
I'm not one of those people.
The way that it helps a bit is because of how you're all saying, when something kind of clicks, it's a different puzzle piece, it's something that you didn't see coming, or something even better than you had hoped, or something that feels truer to you. It feels so good that that's how I can let go of what I had planned. You know what I mean? Like it's that, just like you're saying, that's such a great moment that yeah, it feels either genuine or feels like, oh no, this is the right way, you know, and you just get that feeling of like what's right for the story. And when that happens, then I'm like, that's okay that I, you know, just that there goes 25% of everything, but whatever. Now it's going in the right direction for the story, for the characters. So
yeah. I love those moments. I really do. I love those moments. I always feel like they're, you know, they're coming from somewhere higher than me. Like I couldn't come up with those moments. They have to just flow out of you. And that's some of the best writing time. I mean, that's what you live for as a writer, right? Or those moments where it just goes bing. It's like, yes, that's what needed to go there. I love those. I love those moments. Oh, Annie's here. Annie says hi.
Hi, Annie.
Hello, Annie. Diane, your book's not exactly scary, but hey, working out is scary. Going to the gym is scary. That's part of it right there. I'm down with the scary part. Like that's like, whoa, God, got to go to the gym. Nope, I'm afraid of doing that. Gyms are terrible places as far as I'm concerned. Like, no. But Annie's here. Annie just got to do a great interview with Laura Kemp. It's her launch day today, and Laura's a dear friend of mine. So I know that was a lot of fun. I was watching that as we were getting ready to go live. So if you get a chance to go back over to the Right Review and check out, actually it was on my page as well. So you guys can check lots of different places for Annie's interview with Laura Kemp. That was a lot of fun. Anytime Annie's involved, you know, there's going to be some laughing and silliness. She's so much fun. I love her. And Diane Robinson is here. We've got a Facebook user from Atlanta. I don't know who you are, hon. So hello, Facebook user from Atlanta. So if you haven't given StreamYard permission to access your Facebook profile, then you show up as Facebook user. So hello, whoever you are. Elgin's here from Vegas. Heidi Rose has popped in. Sarah Went is here from North Carolina. So we got people all over the place. Yes, definitely go check out Laura's the interview with Laura. That was a lot of fun. I hated that I had to jump off of it to come get all of this ready, but I'll go watch the end of it later. Laura's a dear friend of mine, and she has written some great books too. Talk about characters with relationships all over the place, and some of them stretching centuries back. I mean, it's a fascinating series that she's got. So Evening in the Yellowwood and Snow and Summer just launched today. So lots of fun there. I got to blurb that one for her, and that was a lot of fun. So Laura blurbs for me. I blurb for Laura. Love her to death. So go check her stuff out as well. So you ladies get to hear a ghost story. So we always do ghost stories. We're going to talk about people with relationships and relationships that go horribly wrong. So here is our ghost story that we're going to do today. So I told you it was about the most photographed building in New Orleans in the French Quarter. So this is the La Branche House of Royal Street. Odds are you've seen this building, you know, the 3 stories, the wraparound balconies, They always have the ferns hanging. These were actually pictures that I took my last trip down in New Orleans. There was no one down there. So it was like having no one in this picture is a really rare thing. I was walking around the day after Hurricane Delta hit. So no one was in New Orleans. It was just pretty much abandoned, which was pretty cool. So this is the LaBranche house. And downstairs in the LaBranche house, that bottom floor, is one of my favorite shops. It's called Forever New Orleans, and it's got some great stuff in there. And they're lovely people, and it's a local place in New Orleans, and it's fantastic. Now, it used to have, on the second floor, it used to have the Royal Cafe. And unfortunately, it seems that the Royal Cafe has become a victim of the lack of tourism and COVID. And so it's closed right now. I don't know if it's going to be able to open back up or not, but the LaBranche house and the Royal Cafe they're kind of a staple down there. So we're hoping that maybe that's not a forever shutdown and it's just a, for now, shutdown. So the LaBranche house, however, was the home to Jean-Baptiste LaBranche and his wife, Marie. And Jean-Baptiste LaBranche was one of those people in that time and in that place. Oh, Deborah King's here. Hey, Deborah. Sorry, interrupted my story. Tell Deborah King hi, because we love Deborah King. She's a trip. She's so much fun. I love it when she's on the show, too. So Jean-Baptiste LaBranche practiced what was known as placage. And placage is basically where the white, wealthy men in New Orleans would have quadroon or free women of color as a mistress. Now, here's the thing with placage. Very, very common practice. And in fact, that's what the quadroon balls were all about down there, was actually kind of hooking those people up. However, the wives seemed to know that it was out there, but no one ever thought it was their husband. And the husbands covered for each other, because if it got out that they had a mistress that they were keeping somewhere else in the French Quarter. Now, these mistresses weren't far away in these little cottages around the French Quarter, but the men would cover for each other. And so Marie had no idea that Jean-Baptiste had himself a mistress in the French Quarter. The mistress's name was Melissa. She didn't know anything about Melissa until Jean-Baptiste dies. Well, a couple of Jean's friends happened to mention Melissa to each other, having a conversation within earshot of the widow. So Marie finds out about Melissa. Well, Marie decides she's going to find out a little bit more about this woman, figures out who she is, follows some leads, and invites Melissa to the LaBranche house for tea. I don't know what in the world possessed Melissa to accept that invitation, but she did. So Melissa goes to have tea with Marie at the LaBranche mansion. So the widow LaBranche tackles Marie and ties her up. She ties this woman up, takes her up into the attic, and starves her to death. Goes on about her life. After she has tied her up and left her in the attic, she just goes on about her merry way as a widow. And then Marie dies up there. Well, Melissa dies up there. Marie goes on about her life, lives there into that house until she dies. And now the two women, because of the wrongs done on both sides, are trapped in that house together. And so the mistress and the jilted wife who murdered the mistress now haunt the LaBranche mansion. And so Melissa seems to like to move furniture around. She tends to things, and she's like moving furniture, putting tables and chairs in the cafe wherever she wants them. Occasionally we'll throw a glass across a room, things like that. She's a little irritated, but she's more about, keeping things tidy. However, Marie walks around the building. And so people have seen her in a blue dress with long hair down her back, and she's always just kind of like, not happy. So she kind of still has that, this is my house, what are you doing here kind of scowl about her as she goes about her business. So the second and third floors, there's a shop down on the first floor. They seemed completely disinterested in the first floor. But in the French Quarter houses, the first floor would have often have been a business and things like that. So the living quarters were always above it. So it makes sense that the women have inhabited the second and third floor of the LaBranche house as opposed to the shops down beneath. So most of the time, anytime someone was killed in a house, they would have been above the first floor. So Marie and Melissa have, they lived very separate lives together and apart in life, but now they are chained there together. So poor Melissa was literally chained there, and now Marie is chained for her wrongdoings as well. So those are the stories of Melissa, the mistress, and Marie LaBranche in the LaBranche mansion. So that house is at the corner of Royal. It's 700 Royal Street, corner of Royal and St. Peter. So it's right behind Pirates Alley. So as you're walking down the French Quarter, you can't miss it. They've always got the ferns on the balconies. They're always decked out for whatever holiday is coming up. Although for Hurricane Delta coming in, they had actually tied ropes from the balcony railing to the ferns so that Hurricane Delta would not make off with their ferns. It was like, we want to keep the ferns. It was like really solid. Like, we're not moving. Mm-hmm. So all of those things. So yes, Annie, they do actually stay on their levels. They do not go down to the first floor. So Melissa floats, she's on a couple of floors, but Marie stays on her own floor there. I guess that's as far away as they can get from each other. It's just staying on different floors because they're attached to the house, which is kind of fun. I mean, that's New Orleans. There's ghost stories just about every building. So that building was built, let's see. I have this, let's see, what was the date that he actually moved in? He moved in like 17, let's see. He died in 1842. So he died in 1842. She died, Marie died in 1858. So, I mean, this has been 200 years. These people have been stuck in that house together. It's gotta suck. I mean, the wife and the mistress in the same house. Can you imagine that if you were alive and you had to deal with that? Like the mistress on the second floor. That'd be terrible. That's just awful. So talk about weird relationships and having to navigate terrible relationships. So these people have to do it. All right. So our lagniappe segment is, what is your favorite Thanksgiving side? Now, this can be a hot debate. Feel free to challenge anyone's choice. You get to choose your own. You have to defend your choice here. So what is your favorite Thanksgiving side? Now, Emerald has had Thanksgiving, as we were talking about this earlier. She's in Canada. Thanksgiving was way back for her. So think back, Emerald, to what really was an exciting thing on your plate that day. And then we have this, of course, to look forward to next week. So think of your favorite Thanksgiving side. And I won't make you choose dark meat or light meat for your turkey there. We're going to go with sides here. So what is your favorite Thanksgiving side? Whoever wants to go first and defend their choice, go for it.
Well, I'll go because I know mine. I don't even have to think about it. Mine is green bean casserole.
I love green bean casserole. Now, do you do it with like Campbell's soup and the French's onions, or do you have like a different recipe, like or from scratch?
No, just like the plain recipe with the cream and mushroom soup and the fried onions on top. And we always eat some out of the thing while we're making it.
Yes, I do too. I always get like the big things so that I can munch on them while I'm cooking.
Like their chips. Just, yeah. My favorite. I love it. And no one else in my family likes it. So I get like all of it.
That's a sneaky thing to do. I'm going to make green bean casserole because I like it. Nobody else is going to eat it. I love it. I love green bean casserole too. So that's not my favorite, but it is at the top of my list. All right. Who else?
Mine's definitely the mashed potatoes. I love the mashed potatoes.
Mashed potatoes with or without gravy?
Without, actually.
I'm the same. Mashed potatoes are mine too.
With gravy or without?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Just got to have them, huh?
I like them both ways.
Well, let's see. We've got stuffing. Annie likes the stuffing. Diane is down for some sweet potatoes. Heidi Rose says turnips. Heidi, I've never had a turnip. Never. I've never had a turnip.
Wow.
I've never had a turnip or a rhubarb. Clearly, I need to eat more root vegetables.
Southern girls, and we're like, we haven't had any of this.
Wow.
I was like, I don't know. Now, Diane, I got to go with you on the sweet potatoes, and here's why. My family's sweet potato recipe, I guess it's a Louisiana thing, although I have had them in Louisiana more than one way. But, most people put like the marshmallows on the top of sweet potatoes and then toast the marshmallows, right? Now, while I love me some toasted marshmallows, I don't want it anywhere near my sweet potatoes. our recipe, the topping for our sweet potatoes is actually, once you cook it down, it's basically a praline on top of the sweet potato. So it's like a crust that you have to kind of cut through like a praline would be. So we make it with, it's white sugar and brown sugar, a little bit of flour, a little vanilla, and pecans. And so you mix in some butter and you mix it all together and you just crumble it on the top. And when you bake the sweet potatoes, it melts down and candies basically at the top and makes this praline crust that is to die for. Awesome. I mean, really, it should be in a pie crust, I guess, because it is so far from a vegetable at that point. There's nothing calorically redeeming about these sweet potato casseroles. You can say you're eating a vegetable. The vegetable has gone away by the time you do this, but it's so, so good. I love those sweet potatoes. They're my favorite thing. And it's one of those things that I get asked to bring all the time to the family dinners. It's like, I can tell y'all how to do this. I'm like, no, you just make it. But why am I the only one that makes this? Like, it's not that hard, but it's really good. And that's my favorite thing. But I always liked my grandfather's dressing. And he always made really good dressing. Is that a Louisiana thing? Do y'all say dressing? I know everybody says stuffing, but it's dressing in Louisiana. Yeah. So he would make, this great dressing. And I loved my grandfather's cornbread dressing. And I never could. I've never been able to make it. I've never been able to duplicate it. Never had it as good. I do miss his dressing very much. Oyster dressing is a thing in South Louisiana. I don't like oysters. I never understood the oyster dressing. Never got that. Like, why would you put oysters in your dressing? That's so gross. But people down there love it. I don't know. They love it. I don't know. So other than the green bean casserole, we're all in potato and bread land here. It looks like stuffing and potatoes. So Kiersten, I suppose your fried onions and cream of mushroom soup notwithstanding, you've got the healthier choice.
Well, that's good.
I don't know. Although your y'all's mashed potatoes aren't bad, and then not putting gravy on them, I guess that's better. It's way better than the caloric count of my sweet potatoes. I don't know. Heidi says she makes her let's see, you make your stuffing dressing homemade with Ritz crackers. I've never had that. Never had that. Cool. So, working on Thanksgiving. Diane has to work on Thanksgiving, so that's sad. Sorry, Diane. But if you get to do it early, that'd be good. It's all about the food. Does it really matter what day it's on? I don't know. We're doing Thanksgiving, I guess, twice. We got family in 2 different places, so we're going to do it on Sunday in Oklahoma, and then we're doing it on Friday here in Nashville. So get to have Thanksgiving twice. Although we're having Greek food and not Thanksgiving food the second time. So I guess it's just kind of like we're having to get together and calling it Thanksgiving. I don't know. Yeah. Hi, Deborah. We love Deborah. I love Deborah. So family get-togethers. I know things are very different. How are we handling Thanksgiving this year? What are you guys doing? I mean, we're kind of in pods, so we're kind of traveling in pods. But how are you guys doing the holiday? I mean, Emerald, you were in Canada. You guys have had a much better time of all of this. So were you able to just kind of do your normal thing, or were there some things that changed because of all of this?
We're going back up. Definitely 100%. Since either the kids went back to school or Thanksgiving. So, but no, for my family, we all just kind of spent it in our own families, I guess. So like just didn't go anywhere. And that's probably going to be Christmas too.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's definitely going to be Christmas.
Keep in touch, virtually. Or like the drop off, right? Like if you're dropping off presents or dropping off something else, and talk from our boulevard or the street to the balcony or the porch, front door.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen a lot of that going on too, which is, I guess, it's a way to have that human contact. It's a shame we can't be a little closer together. I know our Nashville gathering is going to be outside. I mean, we're not, even if it's cold, we all have comfies, the great big sweatshirt things. Then we're having a comfy Thanksgiving. So we're all going to bring our comfies so we can be outside and be apart and still do our our Thanksgiving, so we're calling it Comfy Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
We've had sushi Thanksgiving. We're having Comfy Thanksgiving. Apparently, we're becoming thematic in our holidays here. What about you?
Thanksgiving pants under those.
We did Jammy Christmas last year, where we all showed up in pajama bottoms. We all had like Christmas jammies on, and it was, I mean, yeah, we're all doing our we gotta make it interesting. I mean, it's like we do the same thing every year. We only have this very little small group up here. It's me and my 3 kids who are older. I've got 2 that are coming home from college, and then my mom is here with us, and then my brother and sister-in-law and their 2 kids. Like, that's it. So we do the same thing and the same food like every holiday. So we just find ways to do it differently. So we come up with interesting themes and different things. So Christmas, jammy Christmas, and comfy Thanksgiving. That's what we do. I guess you gotta come up with something. What about you guys? Diane, what are you guys gonna do? How are you handling that?
So we're just staying small. Usually we have a big family event, but everyone will just stay with their own families, and hopefully the weather's going to be warm enough so that like after everyone eats, we'll all go over to my parents and just be outside on the deck. So hopefully I'm in the Northeast, so you never know if the weather's going to cooperate, but we're really hoping it does. And if not, we'll do a Zoom. So.
Zoom has been a godsend, hasn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, what a thing. I mean, we never thought, I feel like we're all in Wall-E, where they were watching the screens all the time. And they're like got their drink and they're just sitting in their chair and watching the screen, and like life goes by. Yeah. I kind of feel like that sometimes, but at the same time, I'm very grateful for it. I mean, I teach digitally. This is where I work, right here. This is my job. I teach through a screen, and it's kind of cool. And I mean, we've had family game nights. We always love to play family game nights, and we played like a Pictionary game and a board game with my nephews over Zoom. Like, we had a version of the game they had. It's really moving pieces, like doing things along the boards and stuff. But we're in both places, and they would. My nephew knew how to turn on the whiteboard on Zoom, which is something I did not know how to do at the time. And so he was drawing pictures, and we were guessing what he was drawing. So it was Pictionary with my 10-year-old nephew. It's like, look at you go.
That's awesome.
It's kind of fun. Yeah. Kiersten, what about you guys for Halloween? my favorite holiday, it's lingering in the background. Thanksgiving.
So our family is in Illinois, and we don't have any family here, but we'll just stay at home and do something, my husband and my daughter and myself, and she'll help us cook, and we'll have a quiet Thanksgiving here and probably do some FaceTime calls or something, talk to people, but staying here and staying safe and all that fun stuff. And like Emerald said, that's looking like that's how Christmas will be for us too. So I'm just trying to make the best of it. And we usually have really big get-togethers, but it's not a good idea this year.
No, and it's been surprising how the numbers have been going up. And, we were all really hoping that the holidays would be some semblance of normal. And I'd never like to use the word the new normal, because I feel like nothing is static enough to call it the new normal. Like things change too much for that to actually be a thing. So, always finding new ways to do things. And so it's interesting to see how different people are handling the holidays, especially in get-togethers that are so commonly a family coming together kind of a holiday. I mean, it was one thing with 4th of July, our big summer celebrations, Labor Day, all of these big things. That doesn't have quite the same sting as some of the winter holidays that we're used to coming together for Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's, and not being able to do those same things. So I think we're going to see some really creative ways to do Christmas this year. There were some creative ways to do Halloween, which I thought were a lot of fun. Some of the things that we saw in like my mom's neighborhood, we just went out for a walk. Like my kids are, 2 of them are in college, and my youngest is a freshman. So we were just out walking, just, taking the little dog out. Dudley, who's asleep down here in his pajamas, like sprawled completely out. Clearly we're not entertaining for him. He's just like, but we went and took him on a walk, and we saw some interesting ways that people were doing Halloween, with some of the, little packages of candy kind of all spread out on a table, or people with stairs, or a couple of people who had taken PVC pipe and put it down their stair rail and decorated it and stuff, and they were shooting candy down the stairs to the kids at the bottom of the driveway to stay socially distant. So I think it'll be interesting to see what creative ways people come up with to keep, the winter holidays to be a lot of fun. I think we're seeing a lot of creativity. I mean, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I feel like that this has really brought out the creative side in a lot of people, because we don't want to let those traditions go. We don't want to let these holidays pass us by. And so I feel like we're coming up with new and creative ways to do things. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I feel like we could wallow in not being able to do things the same way, or we could kind of embrace these new creative things. And I'm kind of having some fun watching people be creative and seeing how they come up with things, and then going, man, I wish I'd have thought of that. Because I feel like, I write, all the time, and I'm going, I consider myself a creative person, and yet I cannot come up with the things these people are doing.
Yeah.
I saw somebody who had a candy pult, a catapult to shoot candy for the kids. Like, I was driving behind them down the road, and they have it in the back of their truck. And I'm going, what is that thing driving down the road? Because it's in the back of the truck, and I see this like frame thing and had a pool noodle stuck to the top of it. And this other thing sticking in the back, it had a Tupperware container like this. And I realized it's when they launched the catapult, the candy's in here. And then the catapult hits the pool noodle so it doesn't slam into the other wood. That's brilliant. It's like, they have a candy pult. It was on Halloween night. They're like, they got it all set up. And I was like, oh my God, that is the funniest thing. So that's creative too. We got, candy shoots and catapults, and who knows what we'll come up with for Christmas and ways to deliver presents. It'll be an interesting thing to see, a very interesting thing. But Thanksgiving has been kind of that weird one. Like Halloween is that one night delivering the candy. We can come up with fun kind of theme ways to do that and creative ways to do that in Christmas, but Thanksgiving is kind of the hard one because it's all about coming together over the food, and we can't do that. So that one's trickier. So it'll be interesting to see what people do. So FaceTime, Zoom, all of those things. Those may be actually kind of a blessing too, because I feel like maybe people are going to reach out to family that they wouldn't necessarily have reached out to in that holiday. Like you have your same people that you get together with, but now maybe you start to kind of branch out and include more distant family in those calls and things, now that we don't have to worry about who all's coming and how many chairs we have at the table. And don't want cousin so-and-so and their 27 kids to show up unannounced because we don't have that much turkey. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. So Heidi says that she's putting up her Christmas tree on Thanksgiving. And I know that Emerald and I were talking about this before everybody kind of came in. So we were hanging out here earlier and talking about her Thanksgiving being so early. We're talking about, when do you decorate for Thanksgiving? So this is a point of contention in many houses and many Facebook posts, is when do you decorate for Christmas? So Emerald's Thanksgiving being so far back, she had some interesting things that kind of went with hers, but hot topic, when do you guys decorate for Christmas? We could have made this the second lanyard segment. So when is your day?
For me, as Nola and I were saying, November 11th is Remembrance Day here in Canada. And so for me, I think a lot, it's not like a tradition or anything for anybody, although it might be, but not speaking for all Canadians basically, but that's like a respectful time to start decorating, I guess, after you observe Remembrance Day. But I know some people like to wait till December, and I think this year it's just like whatever makes you feel good.
Yeah. I think there's been a lot of whatever makes you feel good. I've seen Christmas trees going up, like pictures on Facebook. People are like, that's it, we're decorating. It's like Halloween. Day after Halloween, Christmas decorations were going up. What about you guys, Diane, Kiersten? You have a day that is traditional or something you're doing different this year?
Usually it's the Saturday after Thanksgiving. I feel like maybe this weekend, though, do it before. But for me, it's when to take it down, because then like you have like the long winter, like that's dragging on. And I just like seeing the lights and the tree, like just keep it there, like as long as it still looks good, it doesn't get too dried out. So, and keep the lights out. I keep the lights out until like springtime, you know.
I love it. Just be festive all the time.
Yeah, why not?
Why do we ever take it down? It's just always be lit up and pretty. What about you, Kiersten?
So our tradition is the Friday after Thanksgiving. We always put it up that day and listen to Christmas music and just have fun with it. But this year on October 1st, okay, me and my husband and my daughter have all been cooped up in the house since March. We have not left the house except for like very rare occasions. And so on October 1st, my husband was like, let's put up the Christmas decorations. Go for it. And I made him wait until November 1st, but they are up in our house and we are ready to go.
Awesome.
But on Diane's point, on December 26th, they better be out of my house. I'm done with this. After Christmas, 9 a.m. December 26th, I want them gone. I don't want them. I'm done with it after that.
That's so funny. For us, it was always the Friday after Thanksgiving, because I don't do Black Friday. Like, I don't want to get out there. I don't want anything to do with Black Friday. Although what it would look like today, I guess Black Friday this year and Cyber Monday are going to look a whole lot alike, because I don't see a whole lot of that. But for us, it was always the Friday after Thanksgiving was our day. And we do the same thing. We would do all of the Christmas music and all the stuff. And this year, I don't know if that's what we're going to do or not, because who knows? It'll depend. I've got my kids coming home from college and they're going to be in the house, and I don't know what we're going to do. But taking it down is definitely an issue in our house. My birthday is January 2nd. And so my whole life growing up, the Christmas tree always was up through my birthday because my presents were under it.
Oh.
I never understood that. I think it was just a convenient place to put them, so nothing was going to happen. They were wrapped in birthday wrap, but they were under the tree. And so the tree stayed up because that's where my presents were. And then some places in Louisiana, especially South Louisiana, we never did this, but there are a lot of people who take their Christmas tree and turn it into a Mardi Gras tree. And so they just change out the decorations. And so they can keep it up for the entire Mardi Gras season and kind of just have all of the decorations longer. So then they swap out the stuff on the mantle with instead of the green and red and white, then they've got the purple, green, and gold that, all of their Mardi Gras stuff goes up. And so it's just cycling through. And so they get to keep their tree up longer because they've changed the decoration. So it's not Christmas anymore, but the tree's still there and the lights are still up. And then, it's just, and it's a good excuse to just go gaudier, really. I mean, for Mardi Gras, you just take that thing and amp it up, turn it up to 11. And that's what you do in South Louisiana. So there's a lot of New Orleans that, especially down there, that will keep that Mardi Gras tree. So they don't have to decide when to take it down. You take it down, when it's Lent, because then that seems like a respectful time to take it down. Because then you're sacrificing, so you sacrifice the tree. So you take it down, and then you go all nuts with your Easter decorations closer to time. So that's decorating in South Louisiana. And I don't know, maybe this year we'll do some Mardi Gras, because I feel like, kind of like you, Kiersten, I feel like I need festivity in some way in my life. And so it might need to come earlier and stay longer. I don't know.
Yeah, we had all the fall decorations out in like the end of July, early August. Like, let's just get this year over with.
I don't know. Do you know he's a YA author, Jeff Zentner, is from Nashville. And he's written some great stuff. He's a Morris Award-winning author. He's got some great books out. Jeff is a hoot and half to follow on Instagram and wherever you can find Jeff Zentner, find Jeff Zentner. He's a lot of fun. He writes fantastic books. Some of them are, I've read them and I love them. The Serpent King and Rain and Delilah's Midnight Matinee. They're fantastic books. But Jeff Zentner has coined, we call him the King of Autumn, because he gets the decorations out. Like he and his family go nuts for autumn, but he calls it Autumn because he brings it out like in August. So he decorates for Autumn because he's going to have autumn in the heat. He doesn't care that it's not cool yet. He's going to celebrate autumn. which I thought was great, especially this year when I was really wanting a change and needed something different in the four walls that are surrounding me. So like you decorated for Christmas early, I was with Jeff and I'm going, I'm celebrating autumn this year, Jeff.
Yeah.
And it was great. It was absolutely great. So find Jeff Sentner if you ever want anything to know about autumn decorating. Jeff's all over it. And autumn. I mean, here in Nashville, South Louisiana too. I mean, I was down there, in October, and it's like dying because it was so hot down there. But it's only this week really gotten cold, like today and yesterday. I mean, it's been so warm. So it's hard to feel festive when it's so hot. But if you embrace the term autumn, you can do it. You absolutely do it.
We were cursed with that 1 week of cold weather, and then it got hot again.
Yes. And like everybody went out and it was like, it was like this run on the craft stores. And it was like, what are all these crazy people doing out? Because like everybody went out for their fall decorations. They were like, can I go decorate for fall? And all the pumpkins like were selling out everywhere and all pumpkin patches and all this stuff. And then it got like, I don't know, 90 or 85 degrees. Yeah. What the heck? It was really weird. I was like, this is crazy. And again, it's like just in the last couple of days, finally cooled off again. I mean, I've been wearing shorts around here the last few weeks. Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of nuts. And then I had people, they had snow early. So it doesn't matter where you are. The weather is weird. It's like the weather is going 2020. I'm going to do what I want. It's going to snow. The sun's going to be out. We're going to go to the beach in November. I don't know. It's been so strange.
Yeah.
I don't know. What's the weather been like up in Canada, Emerald? I mean, you're up there in the Ontario area. I have a friend of mine who's up in Elliott Lake, Ontario. I don't know. I've got some friends in Toronto too, but Elliott Lake is about as far into the Great White North as I know. So
it's different all over the place here, but yeah, we are going through colder now, but it started warming up and apparently it's going to warm up again. So yeah. Same.
What about in the Boston area? You're outside of Boston, right, Diane?
Yes.
That's what you said?
Yeah. And we actually went to the beach like 2 weekends ago. It was that warm. It was like 75 degrees. So it was great. Today's really cold. Today's really cold though, but and we had snow too. We had a couple of inches of snow before that. So it's been all over.
Before you went to the beach?
The week before we went to the beach, it snowed. It's just crazy.
Ours is kind of like that too, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Mother Nature is just, letting it all hang out for 2020. I wonder what 2021 is going to be like. Like we're all going like, can't wait for this year to be over. And I'm going, are you kidding? Things are just getting wound up. Who knows what's going to happen in 2021? We're all looking forward to it. And I'm going, I'm just now getting a grip on this. I don't know what's going to happen in 2021. Who knows? Who knows? Well, ladies, we are coming up on our hour, so I am going to share the book covers of some of your fabulous books. So this is More Than, and I know, Diane, you said, I think on Facebook, you've got a different cover for the ebook. Is that correct?
Yes, but just yesterday. It just came out yesterday. So
yeah, so go check out Diane's page for the picture of that. It's really cool. I like that with the bench on it and everything. It's very, very cool. But I also like the caterpillar and the butterfly because I think it says a lot about the story as well. So that's awesome. And I know that these are not necessarily, Kiersten and Emerald have got so many books out. So I was just picking covers here. So y'all go check out all of their books. They've got lots and lots and lots of great ones out there. So what she found in Perfect Getaway are just a couple of selections. So please go check out everything that they have got and check out Diane's cover for her ebook that she's got out there. And of course, while you're checking out books on Amazon, don't forget to check out Crescent City Moon and Crescent City Sin. Crescent City Sin came out at the end of October. So brand new sequel for the Crescent City series. So please go check that one out as well. And for any of these books that you have read by any author, if you loved their work, please, please, please go leave a review. You guys have no idea how important reviews are to authors. And reviews make the book world go round. So please leave a review. They can be short and sweet, just a few words. How long they are, not important. The fact that they're there, very important. So That's the key thing. So go ahead and leave those reviews for any author whose work you enjoyed. I know a lot of authors do read those reviews. They are helpful to anyone who is going to go looking for a new book to read. So we know we check out reviews before we buy any product on Amazon. You got to go see how many stars it had, what the good reviews were. You got to make sure you know what you're getting, right? Same thing with a book. So please go leave those reviews. And thank you guys so much for joining us here on the Second Line Show. One last little bit of news. Crescent City Sin is going to be part of the International Pulpwood Queens and Timber Guys Book Club for 2021. And I will be at the Girlfriend Weekend Slumber Party. So if you want to come hang out with me and a bunch of other great authors, we've got some fun stuff planned for you guys. Our panel is going to do some crazy stuff. We're looking forward to having a good time. We are going to have our matching PJs on and tiaras. So get your tickets. Come and join us. You are guaranteed a good time. It is always a blast. So come and join us for the Girlfriend Weekend. And you can get that information that you need to sign up for that event, virtual event this year, at the pulpwoodqueens.com website. So check that out as well. Always a good time with Kathy L. Murphy and the Pulpwood Queens. We always have a good time with her. She's a blast. If y'all haven't checked out Kathy L. Murphy, she's so much fun. Go check her out. And if you want to see any past episodes of the Second Line Show, check us out on Nola Nash Entertainment. That is where this episode and all the other past episodes, including our Ghost Story special and our special with some other fun things that we've done in the past live. So go check them out. Have some fun with those. You can also leave comments there as well, and I will see those. And let's see, any comments coming in? Heidi Rose, love the covers. Lots of people with their Christmas trees going up. All right, we will continue to check some comments. Thank you, ladies, so much for spending an hour with us tonight. It was a lot of fun having you guys. And folks, go check out their books. They are fantastic, great thrillers. And Diane, your book is just a really interesting twist on friendships and finding your true self and, you know, getting to know and love yourself. So love that perspective in that book as well. So thank you guys for sharing your talent and your evening and all of that fun stuff with us tonight. I know that our viewers have enjoyed it, and I hope you've enjoyed your time as well. So thank you guys very, very much. Our time is up. We will see you next time.